Hi, welcome to another edition of Cambridge Inside Out. My name's Robert Winters.
Edition.
Right. And
Judy Nathans.
Right, my partner in crime, or...
Yes, I just
there we go.
make them laugh.
So anyway, today is November 29th, 2016.
One day left in November.
That's it. We've got a few things to say, just things going on around town, and a few maybe more substantial things to sort of touch upon. One thing, this is going to just speaking from my own sort of personal taste here, I'm a bit of a fan of Cambridge history.
Oh, right.
And, you know, for some of us who are fans of Cambridge history, our patron saint, as it were, was a fellow named the Reverend Lucius Page, who was a town clerk before Cambridge was a city, and was a city clerk after it became a city. And he is best known as the author of the History of Cambridge from 1630 to 1877, which is sort of the definitive history of Cambridge. And I got a very pleasant note this week from the Cambridge Public Library, the Cambridge Room, saying that the collected papers of Lucius Page, including his original manuscript of History of Cambridge, is now available for researchers at the Cambridge Room of the Cambridge Public Library. So at some point or other, I will make my way up there.
That's really good. And then you'll report back on it,
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
It is perhaps also worth noting kind of a sort of a funny comment, because we just came out, I think we mentioned last week about the book that came out with Charlie Sullivan.
Yes.
And Susan about the building old Cambridge.
Yeah.
And that was, it was actually Gavin Cleese, who is the former head of the Cambridge Historical Society. When he saw the book, he says, this makes Lucius Page's History of Cambridge look like a beach read.
Oh, wow. Is it much bigger? Did you finally buy it?
I bought it. It's about a 6-pound book.
Oh, my goodness.
But don't judge it by the weight. Judge it by the content.
Building Old Cambridge.
It's called Building Old Cambridge. So we talked about it some more, and at some point maybe we should ask Charlie to come on and
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
instead of me, you could have Charlie. Really.
No, it's an incredible. This is an incredible city to live in terms of history.
Yes.
You know. So, and by the way, I did find out. So I was talking to someone with the Cambridge Historical Commission. And it turns out...
What's the difference now? Cambridge Historical Commission, and what was the other thing you mentioned?
Well, Cambridge Historical Commission is actually an official city department.
Right, that's right.
And they put out the Survey of Architectural History of Cambridge. They serve as...
So Charlie Sullivan is with what?
The city.
Okay.
And, you know, so when there are things like the various neighborhood conservation district commissions, they administer all of those.
Okay.
When there's anything that involves historic preservation, where as part of a special permit process or whatever.
So they have a lot of responsibilities.
They do,
it's not
actually.
like
They have a lot of responsibility, and they actually have a lot of holdings that they have within the Historical Commission offices. They're kind of bulging out at the seams.
I see, like archival stuff.
Yeah.
And what's the other historical?
And the Historical Society, which I forget who the new executive director is, but it was Gavin Cleese for some time.
Okay.
They operate out of the house. Cooper Lee Nichols house.
Torrey Row.
It's on on Brattle Street, which is one of the 2 oldest buildings in Cambridge.
Is that one of these you have to be invited into it kind of thing?
You have to be a member.
Cambridge Boat Club.
So I'm a member.
Oh, you're a member. Okay, so you don't have to be a special like DAR or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
And I think they actually have their annual meeting, which is always kind of a fun time coming up. I think
they
maybe
do. I got some email.
6th or something around then. I forgot to write it down, but anyway,
you're
that's
a member. So does it cost money to be a member?
It does cost money to be a member, and I don't remember how much. But honestly, it's worth it.
If you're a member, it can't be a whole lot, because I don't think you have to spend a lot of money.
She knows me.
All right, well, that's good to know. Okay.
A few other things, just to repeat the announcement. Last week we mentioned that participatory budgeting is coming up.
Right.
And I just want to say it actually starts this Saturday.
Right.
So it runs from Saturday, December 3rd through, I believe it's Friday, December 9th. And I don't have all the list here of all the places, but they're all over the place.
They're having some big kickoff at the Galleria.
They do they always do a big kickoff first on Saturday, but I believe it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all the way through Friday.
Right, but I know Saturday 12 to something at a big kickoff at the food court.
Yeah, one place they've always had people vote on it was right at City Hall as well, but there are plenty of other places. So anyway.
And also online.
Definitely online.
Yeah.
I think they do something where you have to get like a unique ID to do this or whatever. If you do it online, I think they want you to have a cell phone, but I don't have a cell phone. But they say if you do something, they'll They'll make one up for you, a
right.
code or something like
Give
that.
you a fake
But anyway, do it. It's something
Okay.
I think everybody who can should
there's 20
participate.
categories. So just go to pb.cambridgemad.gov.
Yeah. A few other quick things. I was at a meeting of the Central Square Advisory Committee last night. Perhaps we should say more about that in a bit. But
Yes.
one other thing that's going on that I think people should be aware of is the MBTA actually would like to revive. Periodically they used to have the Nite Owl service.
Right.
They wanted to.
They had a pilot program last year, right?
Yeah, was that for running buses along
Yeah.
major bus lines?
Well, it was having late night service till.
Late night service on the trains, even.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. So anyway, it's an idea that keeps coming back, and it's kind of unresolved. But they want to get a real good sample of public opinion about who would use it and how they would use it, because I believe the current thinking is that if they were to revive this idea of an all-night or late-night, maybe it's all-night bus service.
I don't think it's all night. I think it's late night.
Yeah, but the thing is it wouldn't necessarily follow the traditional bus routes. It might try and pick up in the way that's most efficient.
Right. Like have an app for that that goes to. Whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, they do have. I mean, I'll just sort of wave this here. I don't know if that's even visible, right?
No.
But it's all right. But I'll say what it is.
Yeah.
It's just a thing on it. If you're interested in late night bus service, you can go to take a survey on this.
Okay.
So I encourage everybody to do this. It's
Even if we wouldn't use it, just do it.
yeah. I mean, it's at www.mbta.com/nightbus.
Ooh, sounds like a new series on TV.
It does, like Night Gallery or Nighthawk or something.
Well, there was one.
But anyway, it would run between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. And I think that's kind of
so
when
that's
the
very
regular train
specific.
picks up again.
That's very good.
So it
That's
occurs to
what they
me
need.
that people who go
Yes.
clubbing late at night in places like Central
There's
Square,
also people that work.
and people who work the night shift, this would be a useful
So
thing
this is
for
just
them.
Cambridge though?
No, it's actually for Cambridge, Boston, whatever.
Oh, good.
I think one of the issues, and we did talk about this a little bit at the Central Square Advisory
Yeah.
Committee last night, is that I think it's probably fair to say that a lot of the people who come to the nightclubs in Central Square, some come by taxis and whatever,
Uber.
but some of them are coming from the burbs. And, honestly, putting in a city bus isn't going to necessarily serve them, right?
Yeah,
So
but they
they'll-
probably have a designated driver.
I hope they have a designated driver. A lot of them are doing the Uber route these days.
I would do it more because of workers. Because I think
Yeah.
they really need that. They're
I
spending a lot of
completely
money.
agree. Yeah, just that notion that
Yeah.
you're just completely cut off from transportation after a
I
certain
think
hour.
there's this group called Bridge or Bus that was
Yeah.
trying to fill that need. I don't know
Yeah.
what they charge, but I think they have tried to do that.
Yep. And before getting into some of the more chunky stuff,
Yeah.
perhaps, I think it's worth noting. I think we certainly meant to mention this last week, but didn't. Did we mention anything about MIT being chosen as the
No, we forgot
developer
that.
for Volpe?
No,
All right.
I forgot that. I think that's important.
It's a pretty big deal. This is
Yeah.
something. It's funny because when the idea was first floated for the Volpe site in Kendall Square, which is where the Volpe Transportation Center is, for the possibility of much of that site being used for other purposes. Right now, it's just big open parking lots, most of it.
Right. In the MIT kind of area.
And it's part of the
Kendall Square,
K2C2 process. In
Right.
the K2 part, that's Kendall Square. The Volpe site was sort of seen as this sort of I thought it was kind of wishful thinking at the time, as the ideal place where a fair amount of new housing might actually be built. But then people said, but nothing will ever happen. But then the federal government budged. And there was this notion that as long as a new replacement building for the transportation center could be built on the site, the 14-acre site, then the rest of it could be made available for development, preferably housing development, but other things as well.
But it's not constrained by that.
Well, the thing is they would have to abide by whatever zoning would come to be.
But what is the zoning right there? Right
Well, I mean, right now it's just used for federal purposes, so the local zoning wouldn't apply. But insofar as it would be used for other purposes, zoning would apply. So they're right now in the midst of a process of trying to figure out what is at the city council level and the community development department.
Right, but
figure out what the best do.
I get. All right, I'm going to play devil's advocate. At first I said, "Oh, it's great, MIT. We know them." why wouldn't they just want to do something with more student spaces? I mean, they're not going to build
Potentially
affordable
they
housing.
could. Oh no, actually MIT has in the past.
Yeah.
They just basically become the developer.
I know that, but
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great if they said we recognize the need for real affordable housing, and we'll maybe throw in some student stuff. But
Well, basically, the affordable housing, I don't think would be done as sort of part of just some giveaway. It would be because the zoning mandated it. And
yeah, but right now you said there is no zoning because it was a federal thing.
but the moment the agreement is made,
We can change. Okay.
to now that the developer has been chosen, then things can happen.
But zoning doesn't determine affordable housing. It just determines housing or residential, right?
Well, actually, inclusionary zoning, for example, is a part of the zoning code.
Right, but I don't.
And if you do
Inclusionary zoning is not like building 100 units.
Right, but this would be a planned unit development. So the thing is that you very well could negotiate
For a certain number of
more
units.
holistic plan that included different ratios of housing, affordable housing, middle income housing, you name it. It can all be kind of worked out as part of the zoning for that district.
Now that I think about it, where that is, there are no supermarkets. There are no. It's not really.
This is one of the hopes that people have. Is
that then they will come build it? And they will come.
That there is a potential that could be part of the
Yeah,
development.
because right now there's a lot of coffee areas and pricey little places and Clover and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely of the opinion that it is a highly over-constrained situation where some people are saying lots and lots of housing, and then other people saying affordable housing specifically. Other people say, no, half the site has to be open space. Other people say, well, it has to actually be an income generator.
So this is going to be a big issue at
how
City
they're going to
Council. I
resolve
can
it.
see that now.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting that at the time when it was first hatched up, this idea, they said, well, this is sort of timely. We have to get this going because we wanted to get it done before Obama leaves office. And then people kind of, I think, sat back a bit and said, well, if there's a transition from Obama to Clinton, it won't really be that much of a change.
No one even thought of that.
Now, I don't know. I think a lot of people don't know. But we'll see how it goes. The one thing about, and I was actually speaking to one of the representatives of one of the competition who wanted to be the developer of that site.
Who awarded it, by the way? Who makes the decision?
It's the federal government's General Services Administration.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with Cambridge redevelopment, nothing to do with us.
No. I wouldn't be surprised if Cambridge Redevelopment Authority actually bid on the job, because they could have been the developer.
Wow.
I don't know if that's true.
So actually it was out of our hands.
I honestly haven't followed it that closely.
So why do you think MIT got it, and why do you think MIT wants it?
I think that MIT probably has a pretty strong reputation, and everybody knows they're not exactly a flash in the pan institution that's going to be gone in 5 years.
They have
and leave things hanging.
Right.
They'll be around. And the other thing too about MIT, which is a bit of an advantage, is like Harvard. They have more of like they think in 20-year and 30-year and 40-year horizons.
It seems to me that they would want some of that to be for their own use.
I think ultimately, in the short term, MIT I don't think would use it for their own use, but the thing is they would develop it for, in the best possible way, but always, like a good little university, Harvard too, with keeping in mind that one day some of those assets could become part of MIT specific uses. Even the MIT Kendall development, which is another thing I want to mention about here, which is sort of ongoing, which is happening simultaneously with this. This is south of Main Street primarily, and down by where the Broad Canal comes in. These processes are happening simultaneously, and I believe it's always understood that at some point, maybe down the road, some of these buildings. They're going to build MIT graduate student housing is one of them, so that's already used for
MIT. It's developer, not owner.
Owner.
They're developing it, but they also own it?
They will own it.
They will become the owners.
They will become the owners.
What do you mean? So they basically can do what they want?
As long as it's in keeping with the city's zoning. So now there's definitely a certain amount of responsibility is thrust upon the city council to now kind of, pick up their game a bit and start addressing Volpe a bit more aggressively. Now that the developer's been chosen, all right?
But what's the ultimate decision maker here? Does city council can just say no? They change zoning, make it so restrictive, MIT couldn't do anything?
Well, honestly, they won't do that because
I
if they
think
did
so.
that, MIT is a friendly player in this. Let's be clear about it.
Right,
But
right.
if you basically, zoned it down to farmland to the point where there was no more economic value left, then that would be viewed as an illegal taking.
I see.
And then there would be potential lawsuits if
Okay,
that would
so
happen. So
let's-
but nobody wants that, so it's not going to
Right.
happen.
Okay,
But
so they're at least
Yeah.
they're a known
Yeah,
quantity. They're not like
I
some
mean,
new guy coming
yeah,
into town.
I'm just
Yeah.
basically trying to make that point that
Yeah.
for those who, I mean, I for years I've always used
Yeah.
that phrase, zone it down to farmland, right?
Yeah.
For those who are in the name of neighborhood preservation need to downzone things to a
Yeah.
0.0001 FAR.
Yeah. But that area's already, that's not even,
No, it's just not realistic. But but the thing is that would be viewed as a regulatory taking,
I see.
and that's been supported by Supreme Court all the way up to the Supreme Court time and time again. You just can't do it. So the city gets to determine the zoning, but they have to be rational about it. They cannot just
Right.
zone it down to farmland. And they won't.
Right.
It's not good for the city either to do it that way.
no,
So.
probably mixed use.
Yeah, but the one thing I'd just say, not to dwell on this too much more,
Well,
but I think that people who pay attention to certainly MIT's presence down here need to be aware that not only is MIT involved with the MIT Kendall project, in fact, at the planning board tonight, they're doing a design review for the graduate student housing component, which would be basically behind and next to where the MIT Press building is, down near the Kendall Square
Yeah.
Station. It's kind of a big building, so that's undergoing review now, and I believe, you can actually see from MIT Medical Building when I was there recently, you can see all the, there's activity happening there.
Yeah, I
so.
think I know where that is.
Yeah, things are happening.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to happen. Eventually, Volpe will happen. You might have seen on the Cambridgeport listserv, there was some announcements about MIT looking into what they were calling the Northwest Campus.
Oh, yeah, I actually sent that to I have a boarder who's into urban planning because she's
Yeah.
going to go to that. Yeah.
And when
Oh,
people
right,
were
yeah.
getting all worked up about you have to
Synergy, yeah.
pack thousands of units of graduate student housing into Kendall, I said, well, maybe you should talk to the graduate students because I have a
Right.
funny feeling they don't all want to necessarily live in Kendall Square.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I always
Yeah.
thought a much more attractive place would be to build sort of almost like a student or university village
Mm-hmm.
up along Albany Street, heading west, just the other side of Mass Ave.
Well, there's already, you've got several. You've got that.
There's some entities in there, but if you actually put a much richer residential presence in there, you could probably support little stores and other things and have a really nice little place, and it wouldn't be in the middle of all the hustle and bustle.
True.
So for a lot of students, and especially students with families, this might be where they really want to be. And so that's going on now. And the fourth in this little quadruple here, the MIT had some plans for developing in and around the Metropolitan Storage Building. That's apparently not happening.
That's right.
They'll
Remember reading
repurpose
that.
it for other things,
it wasn't
but
useful or
it's not
something.
really good as a dorm. It's
So is
a
it an
little
empty
too
building
fortress-like.
right now?
It is, but I believe they'll put other activities in there, but maybe not
Great
housing.
makerspace.
I think it'll be the world's best makerspace.
It would be.
And so MIT will do something, and maybe they'll consolidate some of the other spaces of shops and things they have around the area.
Yeah.
Maybe it gets consolidated into that building. But anybody who goes in there, right where the railroad tracks cross
Yeah.
Mass Ave, knows that there's like some sort of crappy little parking lots,
Yes.
a little bank teller
Right.
machine,
Yeah.
nothingness, and there are plans to actually
cool.
flesh that out a bit right on Mass Ave.
Right.
I don't know what the timeline for that is, but I'm going to put that as my number 4 spot for where
Yeah.
you should be aware of what MIT might be wanting to do some creative and interesting
Yeah.
things.
I think, maybe it's because I live closer to MIT. I think they do a lot of things for the community. I mean, they had the robotics festival.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to be more inviting than the other.
The other university up
I mean,
the
I
river.
know they do the arts thing once a year,
Yeah,
which people,
yeah.
but it's not as inviting, just like
I
their
think
libraries.
that's really true.
It's true, back in the day.
And actually,
right?
was it this?
You know?
Was it the Science Center not the Science Festival? They did something last year at MIT, but it was a big open house. They had like 20,000
Oh yeah, plus
people.
they're
come.
also very open with the MIT Museum, the science that they have free. Yeah, it is maybe because of the nature of what they do, but I just I think they're more responsive.
Right. As a math guy,
Community.
you know, and a person who
Yeah.
likes physics and whatever,
Yeah.
MIT is like the ultimate amusement park.
Yeah, oh,
And it feels like it
fascinates me.
when
I know.
you work there.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by
Yeah.
really cool stuff.
It's true. If
you might as well have Ferris wheels
when they
there.
had that open house, and I went to the media lab, I didn't go to. It just was fascinating.
Yeah, it's a wonderful,
hope
wonderful
we do
place. So anyway, people
Good.
should just be
All
aware
right.
of that.
Okay.
So again, maybe a couple more little quickies. You know, we always promote the boards and commissions here, right? So we're going to just do it one last
Yeah,
time
okay,
here, but
right.
but
Because they're really
so
looking. There's a
they're
lot of them.
They're asking. The newest one came out looking for new members for the GLBT Commission.
I didn't even know there was a separate one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It wasn't under human rights.
No. That's been around for a good while now.
This is GLBT,
and
okay.
they want applications if you're interested in that. And there's information on the city website,
December
on my
12th.
website as well.
Okay.
December 12th. But I was only mentioning these ones here again because there were a bunch of ones we've mentioned in the past. They're all coming
Right.
due this Friday.
Yes.
So Recycling Advisory Committee, you know, you can be a worthy successor. Judy and I, we were on it until a few years ago.
But not just feel good recycling, but really maybe interested in the whole,
The whole
how
solid
it gets
waste
done, waste
management.
reduction, not
Yep,
just
waste
recycling.
reduction. Absolutely.
So please,
So
yes.
that's this Friday.
Right,
They
and then
wanted
what else?
people who are interested in serving on this Harvard Square kiosk working
Oh,
group.
right. Is that
They
also
want letters
Friday?
of interest also due by December
Wow.
2nd, which is this Friday. Human Rights Commission vacancy. They were looking for somebody again.
That
Letters due. They may be extended again. I don't know if they
That's
don't
true.
get applicants, but
Right.
they want people by this Friday, December 2nd
Okay.
again. So.
So just go to the city website or go to Robert's website. You'll see all of this.
Yeah, it's
Cambridge
important
Civic
to be part of it all.
Yeah,
Right?
you know, don't just sit and say I could do that. Just get involved.
Get involved.
Get
yeah.
involved.
All right, so and I'm sure we'll spill over into the second half hour with
Yeah.
this, but this week there was yesterday a few items of interest. Monday,
Right.
the 28th was a city council
Special
roundtable.
It was changed from early education.
It was supposed to be a pre-K thing, but last week they changed it to talk about
Sanctuary city status.
status. Yeah, sanctuary city status. And you went to the meeting.
I went, I didn't get there. I got there after, let's see, City Manager Di Pasquale was talking about what it meant to be a sanctuary city. So I
Right.
basically heard most of it. Yeah, the people that were there were Brian Corr, Ellen Semenoff spoke, Nancy Schlachter, Cambridge Human Rights Commission, Jean June.
Who I remember, he was actually
yeah.
one of the early people with the recycling advisory back
Really?
in 1991,
Oh my
I
goodness,
think.
really?
Yeah.
Commissioner Burke, no, that is the police commissioner.
Yep, that's right.
And then Dr. Salim, who is superintendent of schools, and Dr. Turk, Carolyn Turk, who's I think the assistant,
Deputy superintendent.
how it impacted our schools. So it was all quite, and then an Iman from, I forget which mosque came, and he was.
Right. One of the nice, occasionally it's good to go to these meetings to get the
I did not
gimmies.
pick that up.
All
So
right.
what is that?
All right. Well, I have a few of these here,
Oh, okay.
but these are copies of the original Sanctuary City
Oh.
resolutions
Oh,
from
nice.
April 8th, 1985.
Were there revisions made?
There were not so much revisions to this, but there were other city council orders that followed a few
I
weeks
see.
later
Okay.
that I actually didn't know about.
Oh.
Several, there were like at least 3 that occurred that year in addition.
Wow. I didn't see that.
And then there are some other ones from 1987 and
Oh, that was what that
1988
was. Oh, I
and
should have
whatever.
picked that
So,
up. Well, you have one.
yeah, so I just sort of glancing at them. So it's
There was
good
only
to.
one there. I didn't want to take the last one.
But it was good just to find out a little bit of some of the,
Yeah.
I mean, I have on my website posted the sort of the main sanctuary city
Yeah.
ones. I've had them up for many years now.
Yeah.
But these were kind of interesting, more background, So I kind of, every once in a while you go to these committee meetings, you get a good gimme, and that's a good gimme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so I was
excellent.
very happy
Keeping
to see
yeah.
that one, put it into my personal archives.
So, I mean, my takeaway from I mentioned to you the Know Your Rights training workshops, which I guess are national workshops, maybe that that organization. What is it again? Immigrant Legal Resource something.
Right, there was one.
Yeah, that they're going to have this in December and January. And my question was, can anybody go? Because I would love to know what you need to know if you're, what your rights are. Because I think it's good for all the citizens to know.
The city manager did mention, because it was a little unsure. One
that's right,
person
you
said it
watched
was
it
going to be
today.
about
Yeah.
a $6 million potential financial
shortfall.
impact. Louis DePasquale said it was a potential $14 million annual impact.
Did that count the schools? They didn't know how broad it would get.
Right.
That's
I
the
don't
other
know
thing.
that counted everything. Like
Yeah,
they counted the
right.
hospitals.
Right, that people
there's a
brought
lot of
that up,
other
is
things.
it the health, right,
Yeah.
yeah. Interesting.
So anyway, that's just at least putting sort of a number to it, but
Sure.
I don't think that number is firm because
Right.
there's all these other kind of indirect ways, and there's a lot of nonprofits and social service agencies that are around the city that also get direct funding from federal grants. That might be impacted should the president-elect and his administration follow through on some of the rhetoric about.
I saw a figure
federal
on one
funds.
of the sites that I realized was more right-wing, but it said that out of there are 10 they had listed 10 sanctuaries, and it said there was $558 million of our tax dollars were going to these 10 cities. I think it's more than 10, but that's sort of the figure that came up with, and that was this year.
Right.
So that sort of makes sense.
Yeah, but the thing is that a lot of that money would be going, that isn't specifically related to, I mean.
Exactly. It's not related to the immigrants. It's related to things that the city does.
You would run into it, like for example,
Right.
if the city was eligible for housing funds for whatever reasons,
Right.
and if the federal government says, well, we don't like your policy on how to handle immigrants, so we're going to cut off your
Right.
educational funds
but
and
you know how
whatever.
the average Joe
That's
is going to
legally
see
actionable.
that? They're going to see that, oh, our tax dollars are going for them to protect immigrants. No,
that's not how it is.
that's not what
Yeah.
the money that you're taking away is actually helping everybody, and you're punishing us.
But I think that's
they
something
won't
that
read
can.
it. They won't see it that way.
Well, but I think it's something you can fight legally pretty easily.
I hope so.
And you could get injunctions on things and whatnot.
I don't know. So far, they're not saying anything about his business interests and his family running
know
the
it, I
transition
know it.
team. I don't know what to do about all this if no one's
Yeah.
going to do anything.
Right. Well, we'll say a few more things about that.
Yeah.
One thing I'll just say in these last 20 seconds. One thing I did
20
not hear
seconds.
them mention
Yeah.
at this roundtable
Okay.
was the possibility that the funding for the Green Line extension, which is a
Oh.
lot of federal money, which goes through Somerville and Cambridge, whether that would be impacted. So anyway,
hopefully.
we'll be back in a few
Okay.
minutes on Cambridge
Continue this.
Inside Out.
Bye.